Hello and welcome to Australian Story from Catherine.
From Castle Hill.
From Fremantle.
From Williamstown, Victoria, the land of the Bunurong peoples of the Kulin Nation.
Australian Story is celebrating 25 years on air.
And it's also celebrating its loyal audience, us. Spread right across Australia.
And from all over the world.
Tonight's story focuses on one of the most popular episodes to ever feature on the program.
It's a story of Gayle and Shann.
It's about survival in the bush. But above all, it's a love story.
At the age of 27, Gayle lost the use of both of her arms in a horrific farming accident.
Ever since, husband Mac has been her hands. But as we'll see,
Gayle has certainly taken the bull by the horns.
This is their story.
I've always wanted to say that.
I don't think I would have had a clue what 20 years down the track would have looked like for me. It was a traumatic time, and in the back of your mind you think, how am I ever going to be fully happy with this physical condition, and, you know, how's Mac ever going to cope? But, yeah, I would have never imagined that I could be as happy as I am now, and we are. We've built this life together that we both absolutely love, and neither of us want anything to change.
You've definitely found us at a pretty good time. Gayle's been as good health-wise as she's been probably since the accident.
I'm going to go and get on that bike and bring them.
We've actually had some really good rain for once, and the stock are doing incredibly well. Our horses are doing well. The bull market's good. So, yeah, things are really good at Cantor Park at the moment, so it's happy days.
Your story is the most popular Australian story ever. How does that make you feel?
It's an absolute honour to be, voted as the most popular story. Can't believe it, to be honest, but we just feel like a normal couple. It was early days when the film crew came, and they spent 2 weeks with us here, and yeah, it was full on. We didn't know what we'd said yes to be honest. I think the original Gayle in 2003 was very frail. We can look back at all three of my Australian stories and see how much I improved each episode. What do you think of that?
It's all right.
It's an amazing diary to look back on and just see how tough the tough times were and how good the good times are. I'm just glad that the Australian public likes it. They always love a good, sad love story.
If someone can get something positive out of our story, then it was 100% worth doing.
Gayle Shann is a competitor.
Gayle Shann, riding Jackson.
Look at him.
She's always been very competitive. I mean, she's one of the most aggressive lady riders around, I suppose you'd say. She's there to win and there to take home as many ribbons as she can.
Gayle Shann, out on course.
When we first met, it was at a camp draft, and I think in particular I was attracted to Mac's friendly face and gorgeous smile, I think.
Yeah, I think what attracted me to Gayle was she was by far the most beautiful person around the area at the time, and I didn't think I had much chance, but yeah, we just got talking and one thing led to another.
Mac, he just idolised Gayle right from the start, didn't he? Yes. And we were just gobsmacked because he'd come in and we'd been mustering all day or something, and I mean, Gayle's just a workaholic. She'd be in the laundry, folding all the laundry. Mac would be in there folding the laundry. She'd go to cook tea, Mac would be there cutting up veggies, and we were like, God, how do we get our boyfriends to do that?
Mac is, he's up there when it comes to men. It's something that's pretty special.
Look at that, yeah. Fantastic.
Our wedding day did symbolise, you know, everything. It was finally Mac and I coming together.
Mac and Gayle, you declared
Those vows that we said, no one could have possibly known what was 3 years down the track for us.
This is the scene of the crime from 9th of August 2002. And look, I actually have no memory of that day at all. I don't remember having breakfast, anything.
We were building a garden fence the day that Gayle's accident happened. The tractor was parked in that direction with the post hole digger at the back of it, drilling the hole here. And Gayle's glove got caught in one of the release pins and pulled her under there, and that's when it, yeah, obviously our lives changed forever in that instance.
1 minute she was there, next minute she was getting thrown around, making a dreadful noise. And I mean, she looked as dead as you could get, and I raced inside and I rang the ambulance.
Ambulance, what's the location of your emergency?
Yes, I'm on a property at Moorama. It's Cantor Park, and we're in desperate need of an ambulance.
We decided to watch all the stories last night.
My wife's been caught in a post hole digger.
I'd have to say I did tear up a few times. To listen to the 000 call, to think about the actual injuries Gayle had, probably just sinks in just to how traumatic it was.
We may need a helicopter like we're an hour out of Moorama. If you could find
The 000 call that Mac made was probably the most emotional part for me. That really gets me, listening to his voice.
her arms just absolutely smashed, and I don't even know that she's alive.
Okay, mate, well,
It really threw her around.
I saw Gayle entangled in the PDO shaft. Took her out of the shaft and carried her inside and put her on the bed. I didn't realise until halfway in that the arm was gone, you know? The other arm was gone. Then I knew we were in real trouble. Like, I lifted up the blanket and I had no idea that Gayle's right arm was missing, and there was just a massive, big, sort of black hole in her side, and that was very, very hard to deal with.
I was the medical officer on duty for the Royal Flying Doctor Service in Rockhampton. We weren't sure if we'd be able to land on the property. It was close to 2 hours from the initial accident to the first medical personnel arriving. Essentially, all the first aid provided was by Robin.
I had to locate the main offending blood vessels and pinch them off with my hands, because the one thing the Flying Doctor kit didn't have in it was, artery forceps. So I used the only thing I had, and that was my hands. And I held the blood vessels together with my hands until they clotted. And that hurt Gayle.
In that time period between the accident happening and medical help arriving, that Robin single-handedly probably kept Gayle alive.
Okay, I just want you to shrug your shoulders up in the air for me, Gayle, and just hold it there.
First of all, they told me that I'd lost my arm, and all I could think of straight away was, okay, can I ride with one arm? Yes, I can. I know people that do. It'll just be difficult.
Is any feeling at all?
No.
And what about up here on the forearm? The right arm and the shoulder blade was absolutely ripped off the chest wall, yet extraordinarily, the nerves that used to supply that arm were all normal. And yet, on the other side, we had a healthy-looking arm, and yet every nerve that supplied that left arm was completely destroyed. So this was a most unusual injury, and one that we'd never seen before.
When the doctors told us that the left arm was paralysed and, to their knowledge, irreparable, we were terrified of telling Gayle, because we thought she might not want to go on, may not want to live, not being able to do anything for herself.
I think it was worse to know that the other arm wasn't working. I mean, you know, you look there and you think, well, at least I've still got one arm. And initially we were thinking, you know, well, Gayle's left-handed, so it's a blessing that her left arm is the one that was left. But, you know, it all became 10 times worse when we knew that that arm didn't work. At one point I definitely did think, would I be better off dead?
It just seems unfair, I suppose, that that a person like Gayle has been dealt this kind of trauma that's going to affect her life forever.
One thing I've found very difficult is when I am feeling emotional and just want to have a good cry and there's other people around, your natural instinct is to just cover your face and bend your head down and just have a cry. And now I have to just sit there and people can see my whole face. I can't hide my face, and I find that very difficult.
You forget exactly what it was like, what I looked like, what we said, and yeah, it brings up emotions. It does very much feel like a different person. It's good to see that and see how far we've come along the way.
I hope to be able to get muscle function back in the top of my arm, at least to be able to hold it up, and anything after there would be a bonus. But having that arm there is a symbol of hope for the future, with maybe future discoveries in technology. Let's have a syrup sandwich there.
The whole time I was in hospital, my whole focus was on the horse part of it. It wasn't until I got home, I guess, that I realised that day-to-day living was going to be more of an issue than just not being able to ride and compete. I don't know if we can realistically expect to get a lot of function out of the arm or the hand, but at least now I've got control over it, and the surgeries that they're planning will hopefully give me a little bit more function in the hand.
The arm probably pulled up, getting much improvement, you know, round about 10 years ago, I suppose.
The hopes and dreams that the nerves would get down to her hand, that all ended quite a long time ago. That time frame came around quite quickly for any improvement to be seen.
I always told myself that if 10 years down the track there was, you know, nothing in the medical world to make my arm any better, I would consider getting it removed. At the moment, it's just something that's too big a thing to make that decision to remove the arm, and you know, then I would look even more disfigured. It would make life easier, no sling, no drag on my neck, but I just haven't made that decision yet.
She has horrendous neuropathic pain, phantom pain, especially when the weather's humid. It's just unbelievable, the pain she has, even though she's on a lot of medication, huge amounts of medication.
Tablet time?
She's never once called on the, oh, I'm too sick or I'm too sore. I mean, her body pain, we could only imagine. She's incredible how she does keep going, really.
When I'm in the pool and my arm's out and I'm floating, the pains really do go as much as they possibly can, and I can feel as normal as possible and feel as pain-free as I ever have since the accident.
That initial story, seeing my body in the pool, you know, it's quite confronting. But I've got used to the way my body is now. I've got no control of it. I can't change it. Yeah, it's me. It's my story. My story's written on my body in scars and missing limbs.
I think it's difficult to go from being a person that some people might find attractive to being a person that you think no one could find attractive.
Mac has always made me feel that my body and my disfigurements are normal. They're normal for him, so they've become normal for me.
I used to just try and explain to her that it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, she always looks good in whatever she's in, and it's all about how you feel, not how you look, in my opinion.
I didn't know whether Mac would want to be burdened with someone with my disabilities for the rest of his life, because his life is really only just beginning.
Gayle, with this ring, I thee wed. I was only sort of just 21 when we got married, but I pretty much had a fair idea of what it was getting myself into. I was there for the long haul, that's for sure. I love you very, very much. I'm just looking forward to the next many, many years together with our horses, doing everything that we love doing. When you get married, you take them in sickness and in health, so I mean, that's how I'm going to play it, yeah.
The perfect husband one, I've definitely heard that a few times, and from random people that have never met you before but come up and start saying those sorts of things to you has been quite amusing over the years.
You've met us all at once.
I wondered what I'd struck on Wednesday when we went to that.
Our relationship obviously is quite different to others. You know, if Gayle and I have an argument or a bit of a blue about something, as females and males never see everything eye to eye.
It sounds very much like...
In our situation, I've then got to go and clean her teeth and take her makeup off, and there's no cooling off period that some husband and wives may have.
Happy days.
Happy days.
The Australian public, I think, have put Mac on a pedestal because he deserves to be on a pedestal. We had help to care for me for the first couple of months, and it was Mac that put his hand up and said, no, I need to be doing this. Him caring for me now is just part of the everyday life for both of us. It's just, it feels normal for us.
We can be there and offer to help, but he won't let us. He won't let us.
He feels it's his responsibility.
She was so independent beforehand, and that's always in the back of my mind, trying to make her feel as independent as she can be and not just having a carer all the time.
I've learnt to do things with my feet. I drive the vehicles, drive the tractor, drive the buggy. You know, we built a new cattle yard and built slides and things that I could open and shut with my feet. Wanting to be involved more and more makes you figure out what you can and can't do.
The strength that she showed me that she was going to be able to do virtually anything that she put her mind to.
Give Gayle a hug. Come give Gayle a hug.
We're both still very keen to have children.
Give Gayle a hug.
I mean, she's never going to be able to pick her own child up. She's never ever going to be able to feel her own child with her hands like so many people can.
For Mac's sake, particularly too, I thought, you know, he wouldn't want to lose the opportunity to have a family. And one day, one of us just said something about how difficult it was going to be, and we actually talked about it for the first time.
For Gayle and I to have the life we've got at the moment, we'd need a carer to look after the child if I was going to continue doing things outside.
We sort of both said to each other that it wasn't going to be the end of the world if it didn't happen, and we certainly haven't made our mind up, have we? It took a while, but we both came to the understanding that it would be very difficult to have children. It wouldn't be impossible, but I do feel that I would have got very frustrated having to rely on other people to care for a child.
Massive decision in life not to do that, but at the end of the day we had to make the decision for our lives which angle to go, and I think we've made the right one.
runs for the weekend, Harry?
Kylie and I both offered to carry their children for them, and we were absolutely dedicated and ready to do that for them.
We honoured their decision. I wish they probably
I wish
had
they
have.
had have.
We're ready for an official Grim Hill.
It's always going to be a hole in our lives, but we've got so many nieces and nephews on both sides of the family, and they're honestly the most amazing young humans, and we're so proud of them and we love them, and you know, we hope we can stay close to them as they grow old.
It is a bittersweet thing to be with the horses. I think they sense that something's different about me, but at least I can be there. That's the first time I've been back on a horse since my accident. I just decided to do it at the spur of the moment, and Max said, righto. Yeah, I guess I'll be able to do more and more of that, hopefully. Maybe get some people to help me train them more, that I can ride them with my legs and that sort of thing.
There was always going to be the big decision whether to try and ride a horse again.
We came to the realisation that riding wasn't going to be all that achievable, and it could end badly. So I pretty soon came to the realisation that riding wasn't going to be for me.
Number 1 down the road, crosses over. You're looking for number 2.
At the start, it was really quite hard going to the camp drafts with Gayle because I always felt guilty.
Mac calls and outside goes Mac. In the air we should have Shine O'Brien and Droughtmaster.
At first, not being able to compete was difficult, but I pretty soon realised that I can still enjoy it on the sidelines.
Negotiate the second, heading down to the gate now as Mac and Porter.
I can sometimes be a harsh critic, but only trying to help him. So this is One More Daddy, our beautiful boy. He's 18 years old. I can't ride and compete anymore, but having horses like him around and his progeny around, it sort of fills that void.
One More Daddy, I know, has been a great source of comfort. He came into their lives, you know, back when things were pretty raw, and even though, you know, Gayle can't ride now, she was able to still have that connection. You know, he's just so gentle with her, and he's a beautiful horse.
Hey, he's starting to get a few grey hairs. You see them above his eyes?
Yeah.
I've never noticed them before.
He has been what has lifted our horse breeding and competing to where it is today. He's still breeding lots of mares and got lots of girlfriends, so he's still a happy boy. He's a popular stallion, so we get good money for people to breed a foal by him, and he has helped us pay a lot of bills.
He's got a lot of progeny out there now, and they're just starting to hit that really solid age, camp drafting, so we're seeing lots of them winning, and it's great to see. The horses of that age are a bit like our kids, I suppose, growing up and seeing them go out and starting to do well.
With our horse breeding, that's sort of my side. I do all the horse breeding.
We're making plans to get One More Daddy down to Bow Desert shortly.
I don't think there's anything could be done better with the business.
Yeah, okay, no, that's all good.
Yeah,
She's intensely into every part of it. She never misses a beat.
We do a lot of embryo transfer, artificial breeding, and you know, in that process, Mac has learnt to scan the mares himself.
That's uterus. That's a big follicle in the ovary.
You know, it's a very expensive procedure.
3.6 centimetres.
But, you know, you can improve your genetics quickly, and the progeny are worth a lot of money. And so, yeah, it's become from a basic horse breeding operation to a much more complex one.
Cantor Park these days usually runs around about 2,000 head of cattle and about 50 head of horses. Gayle and I feel most connected probably when you start seeing calves on the ground. There's definitely a bit of a warm and fuzzy feeling between the two of us. We've just come down to look at our main stud paddock just to see what calves have been born overnight.
All looking good. Got 2 new babies this morning. Very happy with the season this year. So we've got green grass, fat cows, happy babies. Yes. And that's the highlight of our life, driving down the paddock to check the stud cows and write down the new babies. Crossing this horse with that mare and this bull with that cow, and this is the result. Yeah, that has filled the void for us for not having our own babies to rear.
We're here at Rockhampton for the National Droughtmaster Bull Sale.
The cattle industry at the moment is as good as it's ever been.
How you going, Piercy? Yeah, good.
Okay.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good.
Bit of junk in the trunk, as Mac likes to say.
It certainly is a good sort of a time coming together with all the like-minded people that are in the bull game, and you know, you talk bulls and cows and
pedigrees,
bit of bullshit along the way.
Home life's a lot of hard work at times, a lot of early mornings and a lot of hard yakka, and it's good to come to these things to relax and enjoy ourselves with.
That means getting up at 3 o'clock and washing bulls. But...
Yeah, that was Mac this morning.
90% fertility ticks all the boxes there for Mac and Gayle Shann.
Now my heart's pumping.
Mac and Gayle, hugely successful, I reckon, in all walks of life. Anyone that knows them or sees them together and sees the partnership they have can't help but admire it. They're top notch.
They're very passionate, very driven. I don't know who's the biggest driver. They've been in the cattle industry, you know, all their life.
Thank you.
Gayle's grandfather was a pioneer of the Droughtmasters breed, so they've been in it from the start.
She's got a good eye for men, that's for sure, and she has got a pretty good eye for bulls as well. Looking back at what we've built now and our relationship, probably wouldn't change a thing. Gayle probably wouldn't agree with that, but myself, it's, yeah, the amazing things that have happened to us throughout our lives due to the accident. It's been a pretty incredible ride.
We love each other so much, and it's always been such a sort of special relationship between us. We know that we've still got each other and we're still going to live more or less the dream life that we always knew we would.
We've been through some horrific years of drought and some tough times, but we have worked and managed through those years together and come out the other side, and having beautiful green waving grass around us, beautiful fat happy calves, cows, horses, foals, and doing what we absolutely love. So this is where we are now.
When you have good times like we're in at the moment, you really do cherish the person that you're sharing it with, and I think that's what love's about, is sharing things together. It is a beautiful time of the day, that's for sure.
Mac and I have been married for 22 years now, and we wouldn't change a thing.
Almost as beautiful as you.
We still love each other as much now as we did the day we got married, I think, and we're in a very happy place.
What do you think? Looks good, doesn't it?
Do you think you'll still be happy for Australian Story to come back in 10 years?
Watching yourself slowly age on camera is not always a good thing, but, you know, if the Australian public love our story so much, it's, I guess, our duty to, once every decade or two, let them come in and see our lives.